This is a review of Spectre. It has spoilers. If you don't want to be spoiled, turn away now. I really enjoyed this movie. I saw it yesterday on opening night in the US and it was definitely worth it. I had so much fun. In particular, some of the highlights for me were, first off, Q and his lab. I love the idea that he was not comfortable in the new building and he's like, no, sorry, I need a lab that's underground in the tunnels and only accessible by boat. Because why wouldn't you have a lab like that? The lab is also amazing, filled with a whole bunch of just science all over, and it kind of reminds me of the labs here at school, you know, just kind of a mess of stuff everywhere. But an organized mess. Plus you did get a lot more Q interaction with Bond and just Q being a genius and having a whole bunch of technology all over the place that he knows where to use, and also just being a dork and laughing at his own jokes even though nobody else does, because I would do that too. I have done that too. And like many fan fictions have predicted, he does a lot of lying for Bond, and he's not necessarily happy about that. Along the lines of Q being a dork and laughing at his own jokes, in general the entire movie was a lot more humorous than some of the other Daniel Craig movies have been. It had its serious moments, but they did have lines of humor, which I enjoyed. The opening sequence I loved so much. It was beautiful, the music was wonderful, all of the scenery and the masks and the costumes looked awesome, and also Daniel Craig in that mask and that like skeleton suit with the cane, it's freaking awesome. It just looked amazing, and as soon as I saw that he had a cane, I was just waiting for him to just smack someone Loki style with it, which he didn't with his cane, but he did with somebody else's cane, and I was just like, yes! I kind of wish he kept that suit. All the helicopter stunts, like all the trailers have been leading us to believe that just the barrel roll was the really cool stunt, which is very cool, and they did it like 3 different times, which is awesome. But the helicopter went up and then stalled and then boom, and I'm like, I don't think helicopters are supposed to do that. So that was... You also had a more relatable issue in this film, which you got a little bit of in some of the other Daniel Craig movies, but this is very realistic, relatable. The government's watching all of us, more increased surveillance. They always are watching you, which I think is something that's kind of been brought up lately in the past couple of years with different scandals and things being hacked and finding out things. And so I think that's good that they're touching on a relatable topic to this current time period. I will of course be interested to see in about 20 years how that has changed. I did also like this film because, as some people, like I know the James Bonding podcast has speculated beforehand, it's a lot like On Her Majesty's Secret Service, and I really liked that movie a lot. So it was kind of fun for me watching the movie and seeing all the echoes back to that movie while also still being its own thing. And I've heard some criticisms online, but I think most of the criticisms of why people didn't like the movie were some of the reasons I liked the movie because it was On Her Majesty's Secret Service, basically. Unfortunately, this also meant that the reveal that Oberhauser was Blofeld did not come as a surprise. The fact that he decided not to shoot Blofeld at the end and just kind of walked off with Madeline, also not too much of a surprise. If anything, I got to the end of the movie and I was kind of just waiting for her to get shot. I mean, I'm happy she didn't die. I'm just worried she's going to die right at the beginning of the next one. That would suck. And it is also good to see Bond working with the other people that he has, which I think he mentioned at one point, because he's not doing this alone, it is a team. He clearly more or less trusts Eve. He's learning to trust Q more. He's clearly just kind of friends with Tanner, and I think over the course of this, M has sort of proved himself to Bond. At least he definitely proved himself to me when he was knocked unconscious in that car, and then they looked back after they took James, and then he was just gone. Like, I knew he wouldn't just stay there, but I didn't think he just got really far pretty fast. I was like, it's impressive. And then he just quickly got around and got back in the car. So I think it's good to see the whole MI6 crew working together as a team. But of course, it is a Bond film, and with Bond films comes some downsides. Obvious villain is very obvious. You picked Andrew Scott. He's fantastic at playing villains, but all I could see the entire time was Moriarty. They even, gosh darn it, had him fall off a large height at the end. I mean, really, totally Moriarty, you had that coming for you. So I would have liked it if he had maybe played with the character a little bit more at the beginning to make it not so obvious that he was going to be the villain, like maybe made you more suspicious or something, but it was clear right from the beginning that he was up to no good and he sort of hated MI6 and he wanted to get rid of them all, and you're like, well, no, how about not? The title sequence I have some mixed feelings about. It was very cool, well done. I enjoyed this callback to like the silhouettes, but also they added some new things in there with the better technology that just kind of looked really cool. But I think we got spoiled in Skyfall with the beautiful transitions between each sort of like segment of the sequence, and they all transitioned and flowed directly into the next one. This one, it wasn't so much. There were some bits that just kind of jump cutted to the next one, and I felt like I was jarred a little bit out of the beautiful sequence. And if I could feel that sort of jarring while watching it for the first time, I don't think it worked really well. Also, they had another wonderful Bond woman in Monica Bellucci, who's the older woman near the beginning of the film. And I don't think they spent enough time with her. She was clearly not supposed to be a very important character. So if she was not supposed to be important at all, then I feel like they spent too much time on her trying to build up a character and get you and both Bond a little bit sympathetic. And then she was just gone, just forgotten about completely, didn't matter. So if they built up all that sympathy, I would have liked to see her in the film more. So either they needed to include her more, or they needed to have included her less. And finally, one of my more major disappointments with the film is that they freaking blew up an observatory. You do not blow up science. Would you stop it? First Avengers, and now Spectre. Stop blowing up my beautiful astronomy places. It is not okay. I know it probably wasn't a functioning observatory. You don't leave the doors open during the day unless you're looking at the sun, and I have a feeling they weren't doing that. But like, still, you still had the meteorite there that made the crater, and they were probably still telescopes that were in working order. They just needed a little bit of funding to get going, and come on, it's a beautiful spot to observe for, and you freaking blew it up, Bond! Not okay. But overall, I did really enjoy this film. I'm not sure yet how it rates among the other Bond films that I enjoyed. For me, I think it's kind of even with Skyfall right now. I'm not sure though, I did only just see it yesterday, but as you probably know, if you know me, my favorite character is Q, not Bond, and this movie had a lot more of Q. So that's always going to put it a little bit higher up there. If you've seen the film, let me know any comments you had, what you liked, what you didn't like, any cool gadgets that you liked out of the film, and leave them down in the comments below. And I will see you soon with another Doctor Who review. Until next time.